Welcome to Practical Wisdom Stories. My name is Nikki Kleppel, and our guest today is Ram Kuppaswamy. And Ram, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining.
Hey, thanks, Nikki. It's my pleasure to be here.
One of the reasons that I thought you would be interesting and valuable for our listeners is because you are a yoga and meditation teacher. And so tell us a little bit about that part of your
Oh,
life.
definitely, Nikki. It was great meeting you in a leadership class, and I'm happy to share whatever little I learned as part of yoga and meditation.
Yeah,
So
well,
this was around, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, well, since we did meet in the Dale Carnegie course, what was your favorite part of the biggest benefit? You went through this program in the middle of COVID and work from home and all of that process. I guess maybe what was an insight that you gained during this tumultuous time?
I would say, while many of them are common between what I have personally been practicing both in meditation and then the values that I learned as part of it. And it is very, very interesting to see and hear those same values with much more practical snippets, and then helping this course also put that into practice and then brought that same belongingness, which we only see in our personal life to also the work life. So that's
Yeah.
something that was very good. And it also personally helped me to bring it more authentically at workplace. And that really was a great part of the entire leadership series. And you played a big part in facilitating this. Thank you.
Thank you. Gosh, I love that word belongingness. So I don't know, what was a moment where you felt that? I think especially right now and all this social distancing and not being together, that is something I'm certainly missing. And so what was, maybe we can live that vicariously through you.
Oh, definitely. One of the key things that we learned and then we were practicing in the course was how to speak authentically, but at the same time, that is not possible without that belongingness where you create that informal atmosphere, and then there is this atmosphere where everyone comes and then encourages you, and then they bring that feeling of, oh, okay, I'm natural part of it. So there is no, and that enhances that belongingness. And when all those virtual or barriers go away, then naturally that belongingness happens. And so a large part of that session where I felt, oh, okay, these are folks like me who want to learn similar things, and they are here in the setting in spite of all the COVID. They were bringing their best and want to learn. So
What would you recommend
that's
to
how.
leaders that wanted to let those barriers down and create a sense of belonging virtually?
Can you repeat it, Nikki?
Like what advice would you give, other than, okay, we did that in the Dale Carnegie course, but, for people listening in, the corporate world or in their workplaces, how can we create that sense of belonging? What advice would you give?
I would say, for me, one of the most interesting lessons I learned is most of us, we feel that we carry a private image to work, and then we have our own, keep our own image for personal life.
Mhm.
And there is only so much you can do in flipping between these images. But once we start carrying our own natural self, even to the work, then what happens is automatically those barriers start coming down. And when we bring our natural self, then automatically they tend to start bringing those belongingness naturally. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
But if we start doing context switching, then it becomes a bit more tough.
What is one quality that is your real self that you have now been bringing to work?
So one real quality is I always want to appreciate a lot of people for all the good work that they do. But for some reason, I was holding back on not sharing it much more explicit. I always said, hey, there should be a bar high for my praise or for something like that. But over time, what I realized is that the more generous I am in actually sharing the good things around me, then it actually gives exponential value, exponential impact around to the folks who are actually equally waiting for that. And so that is something that I have been working on explicitly. And yeah, it definitely helps a lot, both for me and for the team and everyone around me.
Thank you. And gosh, that is such a core, this is about soul searching. And I love asking guests about their faith and their personal development. And that is such a theme across all different faiths is, this idea of either karma or, to give is to receive, just this concept of the more we give, it actually feels better to us too. That it's not when we give to others, like giving praise, we're losing something, that we feel like a good person to give that praise as well. So thank you also for, highlighting, as a leader, what kind of impact that makes to give that praise and how to switch, that we can change our styles.
Yeah. And talking about this, as I was reflecting more and more, love is not something that we demand from others, but it is something that we give, and it grows with giving. So
Yeah.
that is something that I've seen, as you rightly put. The more we give, the more we see inside that happiness. So I felt that is a better way to move forward.
Yeah, that's terrific. It was interesting. I just was watching a show on Netflix, Away, and it's about this female astronaut, and she thought that becoming a parent was going to ruin her career. And it was interesting. My kids even said, she had to love her crew. And my kids even said maybe being a mom, helped her to love even more. And I don't know, just as soon as you say that, I think as a leader too, we realize, the more we love, the more there is to give. I think your experience in with yoga and meditation, like you said, being really deliberate and intentional about focusing on love. And I think maybe we don't think about love at work. So I guess tell us more an experience about how being loving as a manager has helped you.
Yeah. Uh, Definitely at work, the one thing that goes unnoticed is the recognition. And every day in, day out, people are constantly seeking feedback for the great work that they bring in. And that is where, if I, as a leader, hold back, then it actually leaves a void. Uh, Versus if I start speaking up and then start encouraging them at every, and then start celebrating every small win, that actually builds in two ways. One, it gives that emotional fabric, it builds that emotional fabric within the team, and it also adds into their own, building their own, what should I say, career on those
Mhm.
small wins, and then they want to actually challenge themselves so that they can go to the next level. And the more I do, I'm seeing the more reciprocation from my team as well, which is what we all want to do
Yeah.
in the current life.
And Ram, you're technically very strong. And so I think for that part, you're really relatable to a lot of the listeners who look at this and, maybe have that engineering mindset and really pride themselves in analytical and intellectual ability. And you also have that emotional fabric, that emotional intelligence as well. How did you develop that, like
Oh,
emotional
yeah.
awareness? Yeah.
Definitely, I would say I attribute a lot of this to my own meditation practices that I learned, and it was not something that I actually learned naturally. There was a point in time where I was being an entrepreneur myself, and then I was so stressed out that I was looking for my way out. And that's when I landed on this breathing based meditation technique, which I practice. And the with the help of those technique, one thing that I realized was my response, whether it is being angry at someone or being compassionate to someone, is how my inner state is. If I am stressed, the outcome is that showing that anger out towards others. Versus if I am at peace with myself, then automatically the right response and then the compassion comes through. So
And you talk about like a low point being an entrepreneur, and I think a lot of people are, feeling worn out or at their wits' end. So maybe tell us a little bit more about that story in your entrepreneur journey of maybe hitting rock bottom, and how did you become resilient?
oh, definitely. I will be happy to tell it any day because it was one of the greatest learning moments in my life. Yeah, it was around a decade or more than a decade back when I was coming out of my one of the startups. I wanted to start something on my own, and that's when I embarked on the journey of entrepreneurship. And over the course of time, I realized entrepreneurship is not just simply sitting at my desk and then coding. It also involves doing a lot many things which I never did in my life, like writing business plans and then chasing investors and then hiring people and then setting a vision, working with co-founders and all of that. And one thing I realized is there's also this burning ambition and desire within me, which was making me restless because there is so much of uh, ambition in me where I want to see results faster. And that was making me really, really tired inward. I was not able to rest. I was to the extent where I was not able to even sleep because of this ambitions keeping me awake.
Wow.
And it was really stressful because it impacted my not my health and my personal relationship at home as well. And that's when one of the physicians, thanked to the physician whom I met, he suggested, yeah, at such an young age, if you're going through all of this, you should look into some alternate therapies like meditation as well.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, I landed on one of those as he prescribed with a foundation called Art of Living. And then I started practicing them. That's when I realized, oh, with the help of breath, we can build a lot of resilience ourselves. We don't have to go outwards looking for something like that. There is this inner inbuilt faculty with the help of our breath we can calm ourselves and then we can also dig in that endless reservoir of energy that is within us to bring the best. And from then on, there was no looking back for me. I was able to not only invest in myself and then grow, I was also able to share this gift with many others. And more so in the current time, I've been meeting a lot of people through Zoom like this, where people are actually locked up in their homes and everyone wants to actually get that sense of belongingness and also want to go deep within themselves. Uh, and thanks, I wouldn't say thanks, but in some way, nature is forcing us to look deep within ourselves and then bring this inner faculties that we already have so that we can actually be much more calm and peaceful so that we can give our best.
Ram, you're so wise. Now I'm wondering, I just imagine you as a kid. So what was a story from your childhood? Were you always calm and peaceful, or what were you like as a child? What's a story from then?
Oh, you should hear it from my father. When I was a kid, I was the angry kid of my entire family.
Wow.
And I have four siblings, and among all of them, I was the most angry kid among all of us. And you should definitely always ask my father. They can recognize that.
What's one story? Did you like physically fight, or you would yell at them? What happened?
I always had this habit of having this a stern face and then showing the face of dejection whenever I go request my parents for anything small, like, hey, can you buy me a watch? Or can you buy me a computer or something like that? And for whatever reason, if they cannot afford or whatever, look back, I was not putting myself in any of them. And always I used to carry a stern face and with my siblings they would actually drop it after some time. It's not that it's natural everyone, but I always used to carry that forward. And I wouldn't relent until my parents do that. And looking back, I actually laugh at myself, how I have been like that. And from there to here, the journey, I would say it is pretty phenomenal looking at myself.
Yeah, gosh. So maybe, Ram, you've transferred that relentlessness and determination then to business, to the entrepreneur, now to tech, and now into meditation. So it's still that quality within you, just applied differently. I'm sure our listeners would love an exercise. Will you lead us in a breath exercise that we can gain some of that peace that you're talking about?
Yeah, I would be more than happy to do that. Uh, I will definitely teach a technique called Bastrika, or it's called bellows breath. Just to give you a brief introduction, in olden days, ironsmiths used bellow to pump more air into the fire so that they can actually increase the energy. Similarly, we can also use our lungs as the bellow, and then we can increase our energy. That is why this breath is also called as a cappuccino breath. So anywhere you can spend 3 minutes to quickly energize you. So how
These
we'll
are
do
great
it?
analogy and visual too. Thank you. You're a great
Yeah,
storyteller. Okay, how do we do it?
I'll demonstrate it first, then I'll explain, and then we can do it together a bit. Is
Yeah,
that okay?
perfect.
Yeah, let me go back a bit because I'll have to show my extended self a bit.
Okay.
This is how this goes. Oh, okay. Looks like I have to go a bit farther. Yeah, I think this is better. So what was I doing is I was actually holding my loose fist and with in parallel to my relaxed shoulders. And as you have noticed, I was breathing in and out vigorously. As I breathe in, I take my hands up, open the fists, open the palms, and as I breathe out, bring them down with a slight jerk.
Yeah, it's almost like you're lifting weight. So you lift up and breathe up, breathe in, and then bring them down and breathe out. Is that right?
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly. Yeah. Also, there is no effort involved. We do it naturally because I'm not lifting anything. It's
great.
just that a bit of vigorousness is required so that we can tap in. Is
And
that
so the
clear?
goal is just to fill up your lungs and,
Empty it as well.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
and
And
that way
how many
you can,
times do you count or do you say anything while you're doing it?
right. What I'll do is I'll actually do it and then count it as well. We'll do 3 sets, and in each set, we'll do it, repeat it for 15 times.
Hmm.
So each count is for breathing in and out. I'll take care of the count. If you want, we can do it together.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah, you can get into loose face and then in position. Now, you can keep your eyes closed till you get, eyes open till you get it. And then afterwards, you can keep your eyes closed.
Yeah,
Is
I'll
that
watch
okay?
you. Good idea. Okay.
Okay. So take a normal breath in and let go. Now, together, breathe in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Let's do it together.
Oh, yeah. Up, down, up, down, in, out, in, out. Yeah, it's almost like trying to get lose your breath a little.
Yeah. Breathe in,
Okay.
out.
And is it
Yeah.
important through your mouth or through your nose?
It is through our nose only.
Okay.
And yeah, now you can relax with your palms
Yeah.
on your laps with the palms facing ceiling.
Yeah. Gosh, I almost got a little lightheaded. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like a
If
cup
you're
of
doing,
coffee. Yeah. Cappuccino breath. Okay.
you can close your eyes for a while. Observe the sensations, if any. Now let's get into one more round. Yeah. Okay. Normal breath in and out. Now together, breathe in, out, 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 and relax.
Gosh, especially for sitting all day as we're working from home and working virtually, I could see this just a quick in between meetings to just kind of wake up and get a focus. And yeah, probably standing if we're not on Zoom would help as well to really help to energize. And Ram, the other thing that's so helpful too is after you said when you sit is just to pay attention. Like I said, I maybe wouldn't have noticed that I was kind of feeling a little lightheaded or just notice that sensation. So just that awareness is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank
And it,
you. Yeah, this is amazing. Just something that we can practice and repeat, and just a small exercise. I love this. One of the name of the podcast, Practical Wisdom. So this is terrific. You've got this practical piece of the breathing, and something that we can do just to get more centered, and then also that wisdom that you shared. Certainly around giving appreciation and giving to others. If you were to, I guess, summarize or add, is there a mantra or a saying that centers you and guides you?
I actually attribute mostly to the learnings that I get from my meditation master, who is the founder of Art of Living as well. His name is Sri Ravi Shankar, and he beautifully summarizes it. It is like uh, clarity in mind, purity in heart, and sincerity in action. So that's
Beautiful.
what guides me.
Oh, thank you for such an uplifting interview and this gift to our listeners. Thank you so much, Ram.
Thanks a lot, Nikki, for this opportunity. And it is great to see you. And please keep sharing the wisdom and leadership that you keep doing it. And I look forward to meeting you soon.